Hey, thank you guys for joining us for this week's round one review. Starting us off will be Scott, and he'll be telling us how he did this week, where his final ranking is. It's a little bit embarrassing between you and me. And he'll be explaining what players did well and what players did bad. Go on, Scott.
Yeah, there's a reason why I'm starting off first. I'm setting the bar low for you, Andy, because of how badly I did. And as you can
Oh,
see on the screen right here, there's a lot of low scores, 70s, 60s, 50s, and it was a very disappointing week. Starting off with the backline, I think just the whole backline is disappointing there. I think D was the only standout, and he started really slowly to get to 72. That was pretty good, but the rest were just poor efforts, so I'd like to move on from there. In the midfield, very happy with Paddy Dangerfield and Gary Ablett. Backed me up with my choices. I think Gary Ablett was the most impressive coming back from no footy for quite a while now, like halfway through last year. To score 134, yes, it was against Essendon, but first game back proved all the haters wrong. And Paddy just had an amazing game, 44 disposals, I think it was, 43, something like that. Pendles and Adams, disappointing, didn't get to 100 in the end, but they got smashed, so hopefully it was a one-off game. Rockcliffe as captain, disappointed a little, got 7 in the last half, which wasn't too bad. But
yeah, I think he got injured in the game and he played a lot more forward, I think.
yeah, I saw him at full
Or something
forward
like that.
like multiple times, and that was a bit worrying. But yeah, he should have got to 130 I was hoping for. Oliver, Mills and Gresham, apart from Gresham, Oliver and Mills started off really well, 50 and 40 at halftime, and then just faded out of the game. I guess just first game, that's what happened with some of the first years, and Gresham was never really in the game. So that was quite disappointing.
Sorry, to cut you off, Scott. Do you just want to tell? Do you just want to tell everyone that's watching what you texted me before the Port Adelaide St Kilda game, or do we keep that one a
I'm
secret?
happy. I'm happy to say it. um, I told it. I told
Okay.
you. Gresham looks amazing in the warm up. He looked amazing. I was at the game, versus Port.
Mm.
He did look amazing in the game. He looked like he was in for the game of his life for the first game. And I was going to tell you Montagna was on fire too, but I thought I might keep that to myself because you might get a bit angry. But Gresham kicked the goal with his first kick. First kick in AFL, kicks a goal. He's off to a boomer. But he was barely sighted throughout the game and didn't play the midfield time he was supposed to get. But moving on to the Rucks, Stefan Martin and Max Gawn both had disappointing games. Both started off reasonably well, but like my midfielders, just faded out towards the end of the game. It was a one-off thing. Happened to Stefan Martin last year. He scored below 90 in his first game, then didn't do it the rest of the year. So shouldn't be trading them out just because of that. No need to rage trade. In the forwards, very, very happy with Montagna. He proved me right, I guess. He still went down 2,000, which is a bit worrying. But a decent score, and that's all I wanted. Barlow was disappointing, according to his hype. They got smashed as well, so he was never really in the game to get on the ball and get heaps of disposals. Mitch Robinson was injured for a bit of the game, went off.
He definitely didn't look like the Barlow of old that game. He just didn't. He didn't look like he was quick enough, to be honest. I don't know if he'd ever get dropped, if Ross Lyon would ever do that, but it could happen in the future. We'd have to watch out for that if he keeps having performances like that, Scott.
I think the whole team was disappointing though. Ross wasn't happy after the game and he said things needed to change. I think they just got smashed by the Bulldogs, so the only one that really performed for them was Tommy Sheridan. But yeah, Mitch Robinson was injured for half the game, so that was a lower score than what he should have got. His time on ground was 60-something, I believe, wasn't it, Andy?
Yeah, 68%. So a lot of people were saying he had a really bad game, but 65 from 68% game time wasn't terrible at all. And I wish he wasn't injured because I'd definitely be happy to keep him.
Yeah, I'm most likely going to trade him out this week. Kerridge and Wells and Menadue all impressed. Pretty happy with their scores. Can't complain at all about that. And then for my bench players, they all did really well except for Sam Frost, of course, who was very, very disappointing. Don't even know why I went with that to begin with. That was just a bad decision. But moving on to my rank, 49,606 with a score of 1,861.
That is there even that many teams in the competition, Scott?
Oh, apparently there's
49,000.
128,000. So yes, there is, Andy.
49,000, Scott.
Yeah.
All right. Well,
my team will bounce back. We'll
think
bounce
it's
back from that performance.
I think you need to. I think you've done all the talking in the preseason, and it's time for your boys to just pull out a big score for you. But I'll start with my team now. So in the back line, I had Heath Shaw, who I knew is just going to score week in, week out. He proved that with 109. Sam Gilbert, look at his final scores from last year. He started doing really well, scoring consistent 90s the last couple of games. And Scott was giving me a lot of flack about picking him in my team, especially at the start of the Port game. By the end, he'd stopped talking, which was pretty good for once in his life. And then we had Jesse Lonergan for an 88. He was injured, so he was actually looking to score over 100 against Essendon, but 88's fantastic from someone 350k.
You can't worry about his score there. He was off for almost a quarter, so I think it was 88 from 70-something% time on ground. So to still get to 88, that was a good effort by him.
Yeah, absolutely. Tom Cutler, someone that I have backed in the full preseason. In fact, I brought him in elite. So he was, out of all the defenders that were still left, I picked Tom Cutler as my third defender. And look, I know their whole team underperformed and they did get thrashed, and none of them really looked like having any time with the ball, which Tom Cutler likes. It was still disappointing, but I've backed him in this long. I'm not going to trade him out this week, so hopefully he bounces back pretty well. Ryan Harwood was sort of promised to get that running halfback role for the Lions this year. So, and we saw the opposite. We saw a lockdown role against the West Coast Eagles, which was very disappointing, and I think his score reflects that. And I'm sort of looking to move him on this week because, like I said, his role definitely isn't fantasy friendly, and I'm not taking 40s from him every week. So
you can't worry about Harwood, to be honest. I think he played that role mainly because West Coast were just too good. They were getting outscored by 30 each quarter almost. And so he kind of needed to man up on someone like Josh Kennedy or Jerry McGovern when he went forward, or Jack Darling, because they just have such strong, powerful forwards that he wasn't able to play that game style that he was blessed to have in the NAB Cup.
Yeah, but if you look at their draw, they're going up against some fair income teams. You can't just say he'll get the right role against easy teams and a terrible role against hard teams, because he's got a pretty tough draw coming up. So, yeah, it's going to be interesting.
Yeah, we'll see. Push on.
All right. Well, Anthony Tipungwuti. Now, I watched this game from beginning to end, and I tell you what, I've never seen a player look more lost than Anthony. I don't know. He didn't look like a footballer at all. I know in the NAB 3 he impressed a lot of people with just his run, and he looked like a fantasy player, but I tell you what, he looked the complete opposite round one. So he's someone I might be looking to trade. You can't be taking 36 from one of your players on your field. Into the midfield, like Scott, I had Patrick Dangerfield, an absolute beast. We all saw it coming, but we didn't see it on his debut game that he'd get 43 disposals. That is absolutely ridiculous against the reigning premiers. That is remarkable. So I was definitely happy to get that score.
Yep.
Now, Gary Ablett, I scared a lot of people off from picking Gary Ablett because I myself was very scared of Ryan Crowley running with him. Obviously, with Ryan Crowley being suspended, he had the longest preseason of his life. So I'm thinking, this guy's going to be super fit, run down Gary Ablett. And it ends up, Crowley was only taking him for the first 5 minutes of the game and thought, yeah, I'm not doing this for the whole game. So he found someone else, and Gary Ablett was being his old self. So Massive score from him, and I got the captaincy off him.
Ablett just went wherever Crowley wasn't. Crowley followed him for the first 5 minutes. Ablett pushed forward and then didn't see each other for the rest of the game. And so that definitely helped Ablett get back to his playing game from 2014 that we all used to love and see.
It was a massive risk to do that, but one that definitely paid off for me. So Tom Rockcliffe, obviously, in the midfield. Taylor Adams was someone that I had high hopes for, and I still do. His team got thrashed, and I think he's going to definitely bounce back for a 110 at least this week. So big raps for Taylor Adams from me. Matty Crouch, bit of a slow start to the season. I would have expected a bit more than that, but his break-even... no, not his break-even. His average for his price was only 71, so you'd take an 82 for that price jump. Nick Graham, absolute beast. He was playing a lot forward on the game during the game, so I was a bit scared. But he did end up just making those points come into my team, and I was definitely happy to have him at only 350k for 92 is really impressive.
Are you going to tell them what happened?
I don't know. Do we have enough time, Scott?
I think you need to tell them what happened with Nick Graham because it's a load of crap, to be honest.
All right. Well, I hacked the system pretty much. I was sitting down Thursday night footy, got the phone in my hand, got the fantasy app. So I'm just looking at my team, and I'm watching Nick Graham walk out, all the players run into their positions. And I'm thinking, okay, he's going to play in the midfield all day, just rack up those points. And he walks past the midfield group into the forward line. I'm going, oh no, he's not going to play forward against Richmond. He's going to kill him. He's going to get no points. Trade him out to a non-playing player for that game. And then get this. He goes the first... literally 5 to 10 seconds, he gets a +6, and then I trade him back into my team, and I keep refreshing. I couldn't believe that actually worked. So I had actually traded Nick Graham in after a +6 in the game. So I was so happy that worked, and I got really lucky there.
Yep, that was just plain simple luck. Of course, it happens to you, but
As you can tell, Scott's pretty salty about that one.
Yeah, you had a lot of luck in round one, and I think that's what peeved me off the most.
Okay, anyway. Callum Mills, for some reason, just faded out. Like Scott said, he just completely faded, which was quite annoying. I took a risk on George Hewitt, putting him on the field over Connor Menadue. I just thought that Menadue wouldn't score for some reason. I just thought that. And still 67 is pretty good. But I just chucked George Hewitt on the field, see what happens, and wowee, 95 from a basement price player. I couldn't have asked for a better basement price player on the field. That is ridiculous, 95. I was so happy with that. Same rucks as Scott, same dilemma with those ones, not trading any of them out. Max Gawn got 146 on Essendon last year, who is versing this week, so he could almost double his score from this week. So definitely don't you dare trade Max Gawn out. So I had Michael Barlow like Scott, Mitch Robinson like Scott, and then I had two players which completely brought my team over the line. Sam Gray, one of my poor boys, absolute fantasy gun. He's averaged about 36 disposals in his last 4 AFL games, which is huge. And then Aaron Hall just looks like a new player at the Gold Coast Suns. He's just stepped up when they lost some midfielders over the last 2 years, and he looks absolutely amazing. And then Sam Kerridge and Daniel Wells, like Scott, had them too as well. On the bench, I had Clay Cameron in the defense, got 71. I might look to play him on the field this week. If you can get 71, that'd be perfect. Menadue, Ryan Davis, Lincoln McCarthy was good. And I picked Mitch McGovern over Tom Papley, and that didn't really work out too good. So as far as my score, I scored 2,099, so I was only one off from the 2,100. And I finished the week with an overall ranking of 5,200, which I'm ecstatic about, and that's a really good start for the season from me. What do you think, Scott?
Yeah, like I said, you had a lot of luck this week. But I'd like to ask you, why did you start with Tom Lee from St Kilda on your defensive bench?
Well, there were no other basement price players playing. Not that Tom Lee was, but his intra-club match and also his. No, I actually don't know if he played the NAB Challenge, but I remember going on one of the St Kilda forums, and apparently he absolutely starred in the intra-club match. So I don't know. It was going off little research, but there weren't many 125k defenders that I was interested in.
So why didn't you go Nathan Broad?
I forgot about Broad, but I may trade out Anthony McDonald Tipperary to Broad, so no harm done.
Yeah, I might do that too.
Man, I can't believe I forgot about him.
So, just quickly, what are your trades looking like for this week?
Trades this week, I'm looking at doing McDonald Tipperary on the bench for Clay Cameron, Harwood up to Jackson Ramsey from Collingwood. He's going to be a player of difference. He scored 94 in the last NAB Challenge and then 80 in round 1, or 79. So if he can do that at only 270k, he'll be perfect for me. He was someone I did watch throughout the NAB Challenge. He looked good. And then Mitch Robinson, I'll be putting him in the midfield. So I'll do some DPP action with Menadue. So playing Menadue on the field and then downgrading Robinson to a player like Seb Ross, who scored 120 this week, only 400k. And then putting Callum Mills or George Hewitt on the bench. So that's what I'm looking at. What about you, Scott?
Well, I'm looking at, first off, trading Robinson down to Sam Gray. I think that's the way I'm going to go. I was also looking at Tom Hickey, but I think one game is not enough to go off. At one stage I was looking at going Max Gawn to Nick Nat, but then I saw that Melbourne were playing Essendon, and that was just a pointless trade. At the moment, my other trade is most likely going to go Bartel to Johannesson, Tom Sheridan, or Heath Shaw. Either go Heath Shaw for the safe option or just bank the cash with Johannesson and Sheridan. Yeah, but if Broad's playing, I might downgrade McDonald Tipperary to him and play Clay Cameron on my field.
Yep.
So hopefully we'll have a better week next week.
Yeah, hopefully you do, Scott. Anyway, thank you guys very much for watching. We'll be doing one of these videos every week, so make sure you stay tuned, and we'll see you guys next week. Take care.
Take care, guys.